Hi, this is Chris. Thanks for being here. I'm going to show you how to take a whole number written in its expanded form and convert it to its standard form. There are actually three different ways that a number can be written in expanded form. If the version of expanded form that you're interested in working with right now looks similar to this, then you're on the right video. This is part 2. If the version of expanded form that you are working with looks like this right here, then that's part 1 of this video. And as I complete these other parts of the video, I'll put links to them on here. If the version of expanded form you're working with looks like this right here, then that's part 3 of this video. And as soon as that's finished, I'll put a link on here to that as well. So again, if you're working with a version of expanded form that looks like the number sentence highlighted in yellow on here, then you're in the right video, and let's go ahead now. This problem calls for us to write the quantity of 5 times 1,000 plus the quantity of 7 times 100 plus the quantity of 4 times 1 in standard form. Now, keep in mind that this number sentence might also be written without the parentheses, in which case it will look like this. But you can still see I have all the same parts here. I have my 5 times 1,000, my 7 times 100, and I have the 4 times 1. Now I'm going to start by copying this problem down on my notebook paper. And I don't want to use black. So we'll go 5, the quantity of 5 times 1,000 plus the quantity of 7 times 100 plus the quantity of 4 times 1. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to work out each quantity inside each set of parentheses. And that's a very easy, straightforward thing to do, because what you can see is in each problem, I'm multiplying a single-digit whole number times a power of 10 number. And by power of 10 number, we're talking about numbers like 1,000, 100, 10, and even 10,000, 1 million, and so forth. So for this first quantity, let's multiply 5 times 1. Of course, 5 times 1 is 5. And then all I really have to do is just count zeros. 1, 2, 3 zeros. So I come down here. 1, 2, 3. So I have the number 5,000 is this particular quantity. Now let's go to my next quantity. I'm going to multiply this 7 times the 1. Of course, 7 times 1 is 7. And then count zeros. I have 1, 2 zeros. So 1, 2. Put my plus sign. And then, of course, 4 times 1 is 4. So for the first quantity, we'll multiply 5 times 1. Gives me 5. And then all I have to do is count zeros. I have 1, 2, 3 zeros. I'll bring those 3 zeros down. 1, 2, 3. So 5 times 1,000 gives me 5,000. We'll cross that quantity off now that we're done with it. And let's go to the second quantity. 7 times 100. We'll do 7 times 1 is 7. Count zeros. 1, 2. Bring those down. So 7 times 100 is 700. And we'll cross that off, and we'll move to the last quantity. 4 times 1 is 4. Now look what I've got. I've got a very basic, simple addition problem, and that's exactly how we're going to treat this. I'm going to align these numbers vertically up and down and then add them up. And I'll start with my 5,000 And I'm going to make sure I keep one digit per column. That helps me to keep my problem straight. And then I'll cross each one off as I write it down. Now normally we write a number from left to right. But this problem, when I add whole numbers, they have to be lined up on the right side. So that can cause some problems sometimes with keeping our numbers lined up. So here's a little trick that I do. First thing I do is I count the zeros here. I'll go 1, 2. So I'll come down here, starting on the right, I'll count zeros, 1, 2, and then I'll bring down that 7. And that way the numbers are lined up down the right side like they're supposed to be. And we'll cross that 7 off. And then I'll come on over here to the 4. And of course I'll bring it down and align it here in the right column as well. And now I'll put my addition sign in. And I'll just start in the right column and add these up. 0 plus 0 plus 4 is 4. And here I have 0 and 0 gives me 0. 0 and 7 gives me 7. And then finally I have a 5 with nothing in the column to add to it, so I just bring that 5 straight on down. And I put my comma in. And this is my answer. This is 5 times 1,000 plus 7 times 100 plus 4 times 1 written in its standard form. All right, I've cleared the board and I've rewritten the same problem because I want to show you a mistake that people often make when they work this kind of a problem. They'll look at the first number in each one of these quantities, this single digit whole number, the 5, the 7, and the 4, and they'll say, okay, this is easy. That would be 5, then bring the 7 over, and then bring the 4. And my answer is 574. Well, the problem is 574 is not the correct answer. If you remember when we just worked this out, the correct answer to this problem is 5,074. So this is not a good way to do this. And unless you really know what you're doing, as often as not, you're going to come up with the incorrect answer doing this. All right, I have a new problem on here, this time obviously using some much larger numbers, but our process is still going to be the same. So let's go ahead and let's work through each quantity. In this first quantity, we're going to multiply this 6 times 1 gives me 6. And then count zeros, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So bring down 6 zeros. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then we'll go to the next quantity. Multiply 7 times 1 gives me 7. And then 1, 2, 3, 4 zeros. So bring down 1, 2, 3, 4. Go to the next quantity. I have 1 times 1. Of course, that gives me 1. And then 1, 2, 3 zeros. So 1, 2, 3. In the next quantity, I multiply 9 times 1 is 9. And then I have 1, 2 zeros. And then in the last quantity, I also have 9 times 1. And I have 1 0, bring it down. And now I've got a very simple to work addition problem. And I'll start with my 6 million, going one digit to each column. And then I come to my 70,000, and remember I'm going to start by counting the zeros. 1, 2, 3, 4 zeros, and then start from your right. 1, 2, 3, 4, and bring this 7 on down. And let's go to 1,000. I have 1, 2, 3 zeros. So 1, 2, 3, and then bring that 1 down. Go to 900, has 1, 2 zeros. So 1, 2, and then bring the 9 down. And then finally my 90 has 1 0, and then I put the 9 down. And then let's just go ahead and add this up. Starting in my column on the right, I have 5 zeros. Of course, that adds up to 0. Here I have 4 zeros and a 9. That adds up to 9. Next column, 0, 0, 0, and 9 equals 9. 0 plus 0 plus 1 equals 1. 0 plus 7 is 7. Here I have a 0. I have nothing else in the column to add to it, so just bring it on down. And the same with my 6. There's nothing to add to this 6, so it just comes straight on down. So this number, written in its standard form, 6,071,990. Thank you for coming by, and I really hope that this has helped you out in some way. I'll put a link video up here in just a moment. It'll link to some other videos on some math topics that might help you out as you work through this different stuff. But thanks again for coming by.